Hey, Bulldog Nation, how are you today? You're listening to WBSU Radio and Podcast World today, and this is Carla Henry Hopkins, the Alumni Director for Engagement and Stewardship at BSU, and you have joined us today for a Bold Talk, an alumni podcast that is making bold connections in our alumni community and beyond. And I'm going to tell you all, we have a show today, but before we get into that, I just got a couple of university announcements that our alumni community and others might be willing to participate in. Our Bulldog Pitch Competition is April the 30th. That's right, April the 30th from 3 to 5 p.m. in the Student Center Ballroom. We then are going right into May. Yes, May is exciting because we get to graduate some new folk who are going to be joining our alumni community. So we're on the road to commencement, and we're going to start that off with a road to commencement alumni brunch on May 17th. That's right, May 17th from 12 to 3 p.m. in the Beacon Room. Also, that week, we're going to be doing a graduate send-off where we get to love on our graduates and wish them well as they go out into the world with that new BSU degree. That's going to be on May 21st from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the Student Center lawn. And then, of course, the big day, which is commencement on May 23rd. Also, we have a group of legacy family, the Hatcher Sisters, that are going to be sponsoring their yearly 9th annual Cleophas and Marion 5K walk on June 14th. That's going to be at the Leonidas Athletic Complex. We want all alumni to come out, and you all can find all of this information by following us on the social media handles and also in the information of the Bowie Buzz, which is your alumni newsletter that comes out every Saturday at 7 a.m. And let me tell you, that's a good segue for today's program. We just talked about the Hatcher Sisters and their event that's coming up in June. But today, we are talking all things legacy. That's right. The bright, the bold legacy that is Bowie State University. Did you all know that we have literally hundreds of legacy families here at BSU? And I'm going to tell you, it is amazing to watch generation after generation of alumni come to me to say, my mother went here, my dad went here, my cousin, my grandmother, my sisters. And today we have an amazing, amazing family. The Lennon's Williams family is a proud multi-generational BSU legacy family. I mean, from the 1940s. Y'all hear me? From the 1940s to this present day, their family has upheld the BSU tradition of academic excellence, community impact, and that bulldog black and gold pride that we love so much. Today, we get a chance to talk to them and be inspired by their story, as I believe it illustrates the powerful role that legacy families play in sustaining the engagement and shaping our student experiences and inspiring future generations of alumni. If you are a member of a legacy family, get in touch with the alumni office at alumni@bowiestate.edu. Let us know, how deep your family runs in the BSU tradition. Let me introduce our guest for today. And I'm telling you, we got a stellar cast of guests today. Let me start with the patriarch of this family, Dr. Robert Lennon. Dr. Robert Lennon graduated from BSU in 1968. How about that? And he doesn't look like he is over 40 years old. I'm in the studio, y'all, and I'm going to tell you, he is a dashing Navy man, I do believe, and has given his service to our country. And we thank you, Dr. Lennon, for your service. But he is a patriarch of this family. And then let's go ahead and move to the 1973s. Can we go there? And we are joined today by Marilyn Doweary Williams, a graduate of 1973. And she happens to be, we'll get to the next guest in a minute, but she happens to be a good girlfriend, alum, a supporter, and this is her mom. And she's just an amazing woman. We'll leave it there because we're going to get into the conversation. Also a graduate of the class of 1973 is line dancer extraordinaire, instructor, and BSU alum, Clarence Mollock. Mr. Mollock also is a former faculty member. He is an artist, but he is also a strong supporter of the BSU community, and we're so glad that he's joining us here today. And then we have Jennifer Doweary Lennon, and that is Camille's aunt. Class of 1977. You better come on here, 70s. The 70s are in here representing today. So all of you all out there who are listening and are part of the 70s, just give a BSU out there for the 70s. And she's joining us today as well. And then rounding up, she the baby of the bunch today. Rounding up this cast is Camille Williams Dunlap. She is a member of the class of 1996. She again is one of our stellar alumni volunteers. I tell you, anytime the doors of BSU is open, I don't know how she does it. Anytime the doors of BSU is open, she is there to be physically supportive. If she can't be there, she sends you a note of encouragement. She helps out with our students. And I do believe that she has a son that is here at Bowie State University. Also, he is not with us today. He in class. Hey, how about the classes? Yes, finish strong. Yes, he is in class. But that just goes to show you just how deep this family runs. Welcome, Lennon and Williams family. So glad to have you here. Look, we are celebrating legacy families today, and really talking about why that's important. You know, we live in a time sometimes where generations do not honor some of the traditions of the past of what their families are doing, you know. And so this family saw that certain people were going to Bowie State University, and then another generation came and said, well, if my uncle went, then I'm going to go. And then someone else said, well, if my aunt went, I'm going to go. And you all have just kept this up literally for over 60 years. Mm-hmm. Let's let that sink in. Over 60 years, your family's DNA has been somewhere on this campus. And so sometimes we're just going through in life and not recognizing the great impact that we have. But that's super impact. That is super impact. And so I'm going to start with the patriarch because, you know, my mama taught me well. You gotta start with the elder. You got to start with the elder. And I want to hear from Dr. Lennon. What brought you? You graduated in 68. That means you came somewhere around 64 to yes. Bowie State University. And there was a lot going on in our country, maybe similarly to some of the things that we are experiencing now. But at a time in the 1960s, early 1960s, how did you find yourself on this campus of Bowie State University?
Well, I was in the United States Navy. That was when someone spoke to me, I bid with the Lord, who said, you want to be a teacher. And before I was to be discharged, I had applied to 3 teachers' colleges. Howard University, Coppin State, and Bowie State. At the time, I had a divine appointment. That divine appointment was you go to Bowie State. And we entered Bowie State at that time, 1964. And that's where my legacy began with Bowie. And as part of this family, I can tell you a little bit more about how I got into the Doweary family, and we can go from there.
Oh, well, we're going to get into that. Don't worry, Dr. Lennon. We're going to open that Pandora's box because we want to hear all about it. This family is has such a rich history because there are actually 2 sides of a family that came together that both have a Bowie State legacy, which is amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Auntie now. We're going to get to you. What brought you to Bowie State University? And let me ask you, did you meet at Bowie State University?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Okay. So for the audience, Dr. Lennon and Jennifer Lennon, they are married. Okay. And they look phenomenal. They are a good looking couple. If y'all can't see them, I'm going to speak for the people who can't see. They're a great looking couple, but they met on the campus. So we're about to get into a story now. So, but you tell me how you got to BSU.
Well, my dad, Melvin Doweary, he was, he got here because of a teacher that taught him. And he was one of the first to graduate the 4-year college here in Bowie. And it's 6 of us in our family. And the first one went to Howard. And I always say he took all the money. But but no, I went to Bowie because my daddy said so. And I told him I really don't want to go to Bowie because I don't want to be a teacher, because then Bowie was known as a teacher's college. And I did not want to do that. But I told him I'd go 2 years and then I'll transfer. But then my plans got changed when I met my husband.
Oh, I guess
Robert.
they did.
Yes, they did. So that kind of put me on a hold. But I was able to go back later and was able to finish my degree. And I know I did that because one of the alumni who was in Fred Carroll alumni, came past my house and fussed me out really. Why weren't you at graduation? You know, you got magna cum laude and you should have been this and that. And we just laughed and all, because really Bowie and alumni, we're all one big family. Mm-hmm. And so we had a great time talking about that.
Well, you know, that's when you brought up something really great. It's a community, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's a community that's concerned about everybody winning.
Yes.
And everybody doing well. And so, you know, we grew up in a time where people could chastise you, but they were chastising you out of love. Like, you go ahead and finish that degree. You get on. You know what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So we're grateful for those folk. Let's get to Miss Marilyn, because Miss Marilyn, I tell you, I met you a few years ago, and I tell you, you were just a bright spot. I think I met you first when you were celebrating your 50th anniversary, right, and 50th anniversary from Bowie State University. She was a member of our 50th class. I think and I can't remember when that was, 2023, maybe? 2023, I think that's when we celebrated it. But you had such a wonderful way of explaining that day when we had the luncheon about how you ended up here at Bowie State University. Would you mind sharing that story again?
Yes, no problem. When I graduated from high school, I was kind of, my parents, I was interested in nursing, and so I was going to a 4-month program for nursing. But when I graduated from there, I couldn't find a job, because it was for working in a doctor's office. And back in those days, was very few black doctors.
That's right.
One there. So then my father said, "You want to go to Bowie?" I said, "Okay, I'll go to Bowie." And that's how I got to Bowie. And I spent my 4 years there, and I met my husband there, and my daughter's dad. And life was good.
Life was good when you met that husband at Bowie State University.
Yes, I did.
Okay, students, some of y'all are walking around on campus, but life can be good if you find your mate, and he has a degree from Bowie State University, right? Yeah. Or she has a degree.
Go right. Teacher.
Oh, okay. So continue.
Yeah, I taught a couple of years, and then I went on and went to Coppin for counseling, rehab counseling. And I had gotten my master's degree from there.
So Bowie set you up for family and career.
Yes, he did.
Yes. And I'm going to skip over you, youngin' in the group, and I'm going to go to Mr. Mollock. What brought you to Bowie State University? I think I know this story, but there are many in our audience does not know, has not heard. So please share your story of how you got to BSU.
Okay, starting back in the 60s, integration. And so we went from a white school to a black school to a white school. And I was the only black person in the honor society at the white school. So they decided they would try to see if I could do anything more than just being a student. So they had bus trips. We went to Bowie, went Merle Eastern Shore, and we went to Morgan. And my girlfriend at the time wanted to go to Morgan. I'm a country person. I wanted to come to Bowie. And the reason why I went to Bowie, again, was to get away from Eastern Shore because I'm related to everybody over there. I couldn't even find a girlfriend. So I came over here to Bowie. I started in 68, and at 69, I was head of the Men's Senate, and I was directing my people who were there where to go. And this man came over to me, and he looked at me, and I still kept directing, take these books over there, take these luggages over here, because students were coming in. And he walked over to me, and he said, "Are you the BMOC?" I said, "Sir, I have no idea what you're talking about." He says, "The big man on campus." And I shook my head and I said, "Yeah, I am the BMOC." He said, "Now I want you to take care of my daughter, make sure she goes to her dorm, make sure you take care of books." And that was Maryland. That was Mr. Doweary. Melvin was who I was talking to. And so to go a little bit further, as I was there, she met Calvin. We call him Crunch, okay, from Eastern Shore. And I tried to tell Calvin, I said, "I think we're related." He said, "Oh, no." Well, Calvin went to Mason's Lane on Eastern Shore. I went to Lockman High School. We were rival schools, so we were Bowie buddies, but we weren't friends. Okay. And so I did not know until after he had passed away. I looked at the first name. I said, "Oh my God, he is my cousin." He was talking about Granola Jackson. I said, that's my cousin. So I went back and I did the family write-up on it, and I found out that Calvin's great-great-grandmother, whose name was Sarah, and my grandfather were brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And that's when so I went and told Camille and went and told Mel, I said, "No, we're related. No, she married my cousin." And we are blood. And that's how we met there.
Wow. So basically, you even found your family members just being a part of the Bowie State University community.
Yeah, let me say this. I thought I was the only person who went to Bowie State from my family. I'm number 5 of 8. So I thought I was the first person to go to Bowie State. And I talked to my cousin Essie, and she says, "No, I went to Bowie State." And she said, "Class of 48. Okay. And I said, "Ma," she said, "and you better go back and look at your aunt, Amanda, class of 39.
Wow.
I said, "Oh my goodness." She said, no, go back." I went back a little further, found out that I'll show you this beautiful picture. This is what an 18-year-old looks like who's getting ready to go to Bowie State. Okay.
Wow.
This is my aunt Norma Land. And she graduated Bowie State Teachers College in 1928.
Wow. Now that's some deep roots.
So I had no idea. We went way back to 1928.
Oh, yeah. You went back through some alliterations of Bowie, the Bowie State College, the Bowie State University, and the normal school, yes, and all of those. I tell you, this is so exciting. Camille, I have not forgotten about you, girl. We're going to get all the way into you, because my question when we come back will be the question I posed to everyone, but also we're going to go a little bit deeper into, just why legacy families are super important in the health and the sustainability of Bowie State University. We'll be back just momentarily. Hey, Bowie State University community, alumni, and the Bulldog Nation. You're back on WBSU, and you are joining the radio and podcast world where we are having a bold take, we are making connections with alumni and beyond alumni. Look, before we get back into this riveting conversation that we've been having with this amazing legacy family, I have a short little announcement. Look, if you're a job seeker, are you ready to level up? Don't miss Bowie State's career fair this Wednesday. That's right, this Wednesday, April the 23rd, from 1 to 4 p.m. in the MLK Center. Over 100 employers, that's right, 100 employers over that will be there, looking for talent just like you. Open to all majors and all degree programs. And so if you're a student or an alum out there looking to level up, come on over to the MLK Center on Wednesday, April the 23rd for the career fair. Business attire is required, and you can register on site the day of. Be there and take the next steps in your career. All right, we are back with our legacy family. And I'm telling you, we're about to get into the weeds now. We have been talking with the Lennon Williams family, and they are over 60 years deep, really, in being a part of the university story, really. Their story, their family story is the BSU story. They are intersected. And so we have 5 of those family members with us today. There's so many more of them. And even one currently who is matriculating right here at Bowie State University. And he's in class, y'all. So if he's listening, your family is doing you proud. They're doing you proud. Before we took the break, I was just asking the family, how did they get to BSU? And we spoke to the elders first, because that's how we do it in our tradition, right? As African American people, we got to speak to the elders first. But now I'm going to talk to my girlfriend, Camille. And I almost feel like this is a rhetorical question. After hearing everything that I heard about your family and their stories, I don't know if you even really had a choice of another university or college, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway. How did you get to this campus?
My grandfather, Melvin Doweary Sr., as Aunt Johnny was saying, he was a graduate of 1941, the first 4-year graduating class. And I didn't have high SAT scores at the time. So, but I knew because of Different World on TV at the time, I grew up during Different World. I knew I wanted to go to a HBCU, and I wanted to be at a college for 4 years, not transfer in. Not saying nothing's wrong with that, but I knew what I wanted. And so Bowie gave me an opportunity. At the time, they had a program that was called Scholars Program. We're still in contact with everybody till this day. And they gave me an opportunity to seek out a 4-year education. And so when, my mom, my dad, my grandfather, yes, I wanted to be at Bowie because of them, but Bowie also gave me another, opportunity. Like, I didn't have the SAT scores.
Wow. That's rich, Camille, because I know that there's someone listening who can really resonate with that story. They wanted to come. And so many times I hear that Bowie State University took a chance, right, on me, and I made good use of that chance. And so I want to say to you that I know you made great use of that chance, because the type of alumni you are, I can only imagine when you got that opportunity, what you did with it. Legacy families are hard though, right? Let me get into that a little bit. I'm a member of a legacy family of my undergraduate institution, Wilberforce University. My mother and father went there. My grandparents went there. And what I found hard, and Camille, this question is to you, is because there were so many people who came before me that went to that university, aunts, uncles, all of that. When I got there, some of the professors were then administrators, and and they knew my people, right? So it was hard to really be, how can I say this, as free as I wanted to be, without somebody knowing that, that I belong to this person. And so I'm kind of interested, as you were on campus, were there people who were on campus, faculty members, administrators, or people who knew other members of your family that were still there? Or were you able to really just come on in here and just be like anonymous? Like, I'm just Camille up in here.
I've been anonymous. The unfortunate part, my son does not have that. Like, everybody knows he's my son. I mean, everybody.
Yes. So we are yet praying for Colin, that he can walk on campus and try to have a little bit of anonymous identity while he is here. I want to talk to you all about, I want to shift gears a little bit. You talked about how some of you all met your life partners here. Some of you all returned to school here after taking a hiatus and that kind of thing. Some of you taught at Bowie. So not only were you an alum, but you came back and gave back to another generation of students. How has that shaped your family? What I mean by that is I can only imagine Thanksgiving, Christmas, after we have eaten a good meal and we're recounting stories of everything from church stories to school stories to how has that shaped the dynamic of some of the younger people in your family? In terms of you all having a shared experience. Not every family has a shared educational experience. And so I'm going to go to the patriarch again. Dr. Lennon, how do you think that shaped your family in terms of just how you all, I know you're a close-knit family because I can see it and I've known it, but how has it shaped the trajectory of your family having the same Bowie experience?
Well, can I just...
We just talking. Like we ain't scripted here. This is WBSU. We flow with it. Come on, Dr. Lennon.
Education with our family.
Like how has that shaped your
Education with the
family?
families.
Yeah, how has that shaped your family? This history.
Sometimes I don't catch it, but I'm with you now, I hope.
You're with me. We're here. We're right here together.
All right. Bowie and BSU and educating is really, really a very, very, great university.
Yeah.
And Bowie has a way of empowering its people, these students, and empowering their careers.
Yeah.
And one of the ways that Bowie has empowered my career and probably many, many others is that it afforded me the opportunity to be able to graduate with a BS degree in elementary education.
Wow.
It allowed me to be able to get the master's degree of education administration, and it prepared me for entering Vanderbilt University.
Wow.
Where I was able to get my PhD.
Wow.
In business administration, organization, and policy specialist.
Wow. Wow. Let me tell you, BSU prepares you, right? You can go anywhere.
It prepared
if you get that BSU.
That. Yeah.
You can rival the best of them. And you talk about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is one of those Big 10 universities in our country, predominantly white. But you had everything you needed when you left BSU, right?
Yes, we did.
To get to Vanderbilt. And so thank you for sharing that story. I want to go to my dear little friend here. I want to talk to you about how have you seen the legacy impact your family?
How does this legacy impact my family?
Well, no, we're not going to shut them down. Let the good doctor keep talking.
Now I can talk.
Come on. The wife said she's going to take over from now. I hear it.
Education has always been very important in our family.
Yes.
From mom and dad and all, they always said, education is what's going to take you to the next level, so to speak.
Okay.
And it touches every aspect of your life. And our kids all knew that we needed to get an education and go to college. And most of our brothers and sisters, kids have all of us have graduated from college, and most of our children have graduated from college.
Wow.
So it's very important because that's where you get a springboard to life.
That's right.
Not only for your personal development, but for helping others and learning to serve others. And so education is something that everyone needs, because the more education you have, the better your life will be.
That's right.
And the better you can work with other people.
I liked what you said about that, because that means that your family, you've made it normative that education is what we do.
Yeah.
Right. Your family, you're like, we do education. Okay. And so you must be educated.
Right.
And so, I really appreciate you sharing that. Miss Marilyn, how did you feel when Camille got accepted to Bowie State University and then she went here? Like how as a mother did that make you feel?
I feel very excited. I was very happy that she chose Bowie, of course, and so was her father, and following in our footsteps.
Yes.
And really, very proud that she was going to Bowie.
So on graduation day, Camille, how many tickets did you have, and how many people of this big old legacy family? I mean, how many people did you sneak into your graduation?
Not a lot, but my grandfather, my mom, my dad were all there. I have a Polaroid picture of my grandfather taking a picture of me in my cap and gown. It was amazing, but yeah, I wish I could have snuck in more, but it was probably just my mom and my dad, my grandparents.
Well, I know that was a big day, and I know that was just a special day. Anytime you graduate from any college, but then when you graduate from a university that so many of your family members went to, that must have been super special. Mr. Mollock.
Yes.
You went here, and that's all great and well, and you're an active alum, but you did something even more than that. You've made contributions with your art to our Fine and Performing Arts Center. You have taught here. You continue to inspire young people on this campus. You also work with my office all the time, really trying to get unengaged alum engaged again. Why is that important to you? Is that something that, we know it's just in you, but is it something that was fueled by having such a engaged family that has been a part of this fabric called Bowie State University? I mean, you didn't have to come back and teach. You didn't have to, create beautiful artwork for our students, not only to see, but to kind of chart the history of Bowie State University. Where does that come from?
Ooh, it goes back to my father, who had a fourth grade education. Mom, I think she went to sixth grade. But what happened is that they always said, you've got to do better than us. And when it comes to education, you've got to do better than us. And I was the first to go, and I stayed into it. So to put it into perspective, I graduated high school in 68 and started Bowie in 68.
Wow.
I graduated Bowie in 73 and started teaching in 73. I met a love of my life, believe it or not. We celebrated 50 years of friendship. I met her in 73, got married in 74. From 73 till 2005, 32 years of teaching, I retired. I was just 55 when I retired. I retired in 2005. Bowie hired me in 2005. So I taught at the Martin Luther King building as an adjunct professor of ceramics and helped to break ground for the Fine Arts building. And then I went over there and taught. I left there, and during this time now, I became president of the Bowie State University Alumni Association of Baltimore. I was supposed to be there for 2 years. After 20 years, I decided it's time to stop and go on. And so recently, now I feel myself still drawn back to Bowie. And I keep coming back to Bowie. I have a personality, so I come into, and I met Camille and realized that she was my cousin. Okay.
Wow.
She got the same exuberance that I had.
She does.
Have. Okay. And so it keeps me coming back. The education here is just, it's bar none. It's the one. You get a great education here at Bowie. You can go anywhere you want and fit in.
Yes.
And I love Bowie State.
Yeah, we can
tell.
Oh yeah, I can tell it. I can tell it. It runs deep. Welcome to the new BSU.
Yeah.
You all must be extremely proud when you walk this campus.
Yeah.
It has changed, I'm sure, many, many times since you were here in the 60s, since you were here in the 70s. Even when Camille was here, this is a different campus.
Yes.
And
Yes,
yet Colin is here to experience what is the now Bowie State, which is amazing. And in a few years, he'll come back and it will look different again. I think that should make you so incredibly proud. And as we, kind of round up this discussion, and thank you all again so much for coming, I want to ask you this question. Why is it important to give back to your university with your time, your talent, and or your treasure? Why is that essential for our HBCUs in general, but for Bowie State in particular? And Camille, I want you to take this.
I think it's important because we have to give back to the next generation. Someone helped us. We've got to pay it forward. I tell people, even if you just give $1,
That's all, just a lot.
just $1. Sometimes people think it has to be thousands of dollars. If all of us as an alumni community just give $1, it can go a long way. And I'm trying to definitely instill that in Colin as well. I think we do have to let our younger generation know how important it is to give back to your time, because Bowie made us, without, of course, without God for sure. But sure. I know the education that's, has been instilled upon my family, like Johnny was saying earlier, like Colin is like who a lot of people can't say you're fourth generation.
That's right.
That's for sure.
Especially of color.
That's right.
And so it's definitely important to give back to the university from where you came from to help someone else.
Thank you so much. I mean, you said that just so beautifully. We just got to get some final thoughts before we leave. Mr. Mollock, you were talking about how you retired early, and I know you give so much back to BSU. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
When I retired in 2005, I was 55, and they said, no, you cannot retire, but you need to be 65. But in the school system, 32 years of teaching, and at 55, yes, I had the time. And so I retired at 55. And I've been enjoying it ever since. And that gave me more time to come back to Bowie and do more work. Again, I retired at 55 in 2005, and then I started teaching at Bowie in 2005. What I want to say is that you can take a break in your education, but try not to. Keep going. Don't take a year off because it was hard. No. Keep going. Mm-hmm. You've got to keep going if you want to really succeed.
Thank you so much for sharing that story. And as we get ready for real to leave, I just want to get some final thoughts from you all. You all are in this beautiful, brand new MLK building. We are in the brand new television and radio podcast studio that didn't even exist even this time last year. And so as you see your university growing and thriving and moving, and even some of your own relatives still on this campus today, what is your prayer for BSU? What are your final thoughts? What is something you would like to see going forward for BSU? Dr. Lennon?
Would like to see BSU continue to prepare its students to be productive citizens in this country and beyond.
Yes.
I'd like to see Bowie continue to do that. Would also like to see Bowie continue to emphasize the importance of education, how much we need it, and how helpful it is. But most of all, I would like to see Bowie continuing its programs that will allow all of us in our community to be very productive citizens to our country. And most of all, I like to continue to see Bowie prepare people to do those things which make our nation great.
Oh, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate you. And you? Yes.
Yes, I was really excited to see all the things that's happened here at Bowie. When I was here, there was very little, a few buildings, but now I'm getting lost just looking. But it's wonderful to see the buildings and all, but most of all, it's wonderful to see the people who are coming here and praying that they too will really get involved into the school and into life and learn more than just the books. Because when I was here, I also found lifelong friends.
Yes.
And even when Dad came back for graduation, another graduation, for like an honorary graduation, when they got together, it was like old home time, and it was like a family reunion.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see people get together and continue to connect,
yes,
and to help each other out.
Miss Marilyn, what do you want to see from Bowie State University going forward?
Well, let's see. I want those people who are alumni, who are Bowie, to continue to support
Yes.
the students here at
Yes.
Bowie and to remind themselves that it takes a village
Yeah.
to really go forward in this life.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mollock, what do you want to see from your school going forward?
Oh, basically, the alumni need to come back. They need to come back whenever they can. I was actually, not to pat myself on the back, I went to the shore, picked up some people and said, come back and look at your Bowie State. And they were surprised. I had people in Baltimore, and they're in their 80s and 90s, come back and look at your Bowie State. And they got excited about it, and that generates revenue.
Yes, that's right.
But I wanted them to see where Bowie came from when they were there.
That's right.
Like 1 or 2 buildings, and now they're surprised. So I want the
Disappointed.
alumni to come back whenever you can.
Come on
Bring
back.
somebody with you.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm going to let you have the last word, Miss Camille.
Yes. I would say come back, and also at Bowie, you can find a husband here, possibly, or a wife.
All right.
My husband didn't go here, but his friend went here, and that's how I met my
wow.
husband. And I have lifelong best friends and sisters here. So as you are here preparing for your education, don't give up. They never ask you how long does it take to get the degree. They either ask, do you have it or you don't. So don't give up.
Don't give up. I think that's a great way to end this segment. Again, you all are a remarkable family. Thank you for joining us today, and keep the legacy alive. Why don't you keep that legacy alive? You've been listening to A Bold Take, and A Bold Take is on BSU Radio and Podcast World.